Ooh, I'm live. Hi, Winter. Switch to camera. Okay, there we are. Yes, goats. I am late, although not by much, because it took me 3 matches to light my incense. I love this box, but like this is really starting to go. Should find another way of starting a fire. I mean, lighting my incense. Anyway. Also, I remembered this thing. Come to think of it, it does look pretty similar to the pattern I linked that I thought might have been the mosaic pattern that I based this on, and which I'm now doing the border of this. How are y'all? The strip on mine is almost gone. I've only used 1 match out of it. Well, it was not the best quality. Yeah, it seems like that's the thing with matchboxes. Like, they're fun, but I'm like, can I just get some flint and steel wool or something? So yeah, this is how far I'm along with the second border. I'm doing one side at a time so I can decide what to do. The other border is finished. Let's see. I might be, yeah, I think I'm exactly halfway through, aside from, I think it's an odd number of rows, so I'm in the center row now. Yay, thank you. I love how it's coming along too. Thinking about what colors to use for the other 2 sides, because I'd like to kind of switch it up. And I love the shade of blue that we are currently on in this. It's actually a little bit more turquoise than you can see, but yeah. And my only criteria for this is that any yarn I use has to be sparkly. Speaking of yarn, that is the only thing I'm waiting on to actually start dyeing my own yarn, which I'm very excited about. Probably gonna do a blog about that so people can see the process. Like, I need to get the word out there that I'm dyeing yarn, so. Oh yeah, this one is, I don't know actually, but I think it might be the one that has something about Orion in it, but it's one of the non-Halloween, go down, one of the non-Halloween Hobie universes. Hobie Halloween Sparkle universes. But it's the one that changes from very light blue-gray through blue-gray, then like deep the turquoise blue, and then to light almost green, but it's like a very blue-green. Yes, it's one of the Hobie the universes. I love that line of yarn. Ooh, you've got a bunch of rainbow ones. of the universe line or a different one? I love rainbow yarn, so. Hi, not staying for live. Hubby, try to be spicy right now. I'm ignoring him on purpose. Well, have fun. And but thanks for saying hi. I always appreciate you um, being such a constant viewer, Mars. Oh, so the rainbow yarns were from the Universe line. It was one of your first Hobie orders ever. Cool. Have a good night to you too. And tell your hubby hi. I love the light right now, like it's just about sunset here, and thankfully these windows have a shade, otherwise I would not be able to be up there here because that's the west right there. And speaking of sparkly, Sun Mom is very sparkly. But luckily we have a sunshade. Ooh, that's good to hear. So the Baba Yaga shawl is coming along nicely, and you started the peacock the blanket. Cool. So are you also doing the mosaic the crochet? Because I know that the peacock blanket is mosaic, but that is cool to hear that the Baba Yaga shawl, your Lost Souls one in like green, right? Anyway, it's cool to hear that that's coming along well too. Oh, the blanket is the same color scheme as the shawl, and yes, you're doing the mosaic. Cool. Well, it's must be a good color scheme. I had a friend notice that I'm doing a lot of things in this turquoise blue color scheme at the moment, which I think includes my art. So that made me think, yeah, I guess that is the vibe currently. Oh, the Baba Yaga one will be gray and red. It uses Sultan Shadow. Cool. Is that also one of the Hobie yarns? They have so many, it's hard to keep track. Also, I would love to hear how people are doing. I've been trying to take it easy the last couple of days and just de-stress from a lot of the things that I'd been stressed about for the past several weeks, I guess. And I've been working a lot on my story that I want to turn into a webcomic. So this morning and last night I was trying alternate ways of mapping out the plot of the story, which has always been hard for me. I think because I I had ADHD and didn't know it until a couple of years ago. So I found that using like mind maps and thinking about, okay, what are my goals for each for the book, and then I can put those into a timeline and think about, is there a scene that fits, that is there at least one scene that does each of these goals, and does each scene accomplish at least one goal. So yeah. Oh yes, it is Hobie too. This is Hobie appreciation time. Thanks. I am glad that I'm de-stressing and I'm the writing too. It's kind of like I think I'll be much more effective at the things I'm worried about not being good at if I'm not stressed, but it's kind of hard not to stress about them. So the nice thing about this type of row is it's 2 up and then one down for the whole thing. So I don't really have to look at whether I'm doing down, up, up, or the opposite. So it's nice. Oh yes. Yeah. Yeah. We're glad to have you, Zara. Please feel free to jump into the conversation randomly. I got diagnosed the ADHD in my mid-30s, and suddenly life started making a lot more sense. Yeah. For me, it was early 30s. Maybe even like 30 itself, I'm not sure. No, I think it was at least 31. I'm 32 now, yeah. I was born in 1990, so, but not till August, so I'm like, okay, it's, the year ends in 23, so just add 3, but it's not August yet, so, yeah. But I'm at the age where I'm like, how old am I? But yeah, a lot of stuff, once I realized that the idea of that I had of what ADHD is, it's not really what it is. Like, there's so much more to it. It also made a lot of my challenges make sense. And it was so helpful to know that, oh, it's not just me being weirdly bad at life. So oops, I missed a downstroke. Not sure what those are called, but like where you drop down and when you do a double crochet in a lower loop. Mapping out can be such a fun process too. Yeah. It's super fun. Like with the mind map, I was just I finally had a lot of the plot holes filled, but I'm not completely sure of the order of the scenes, but it was fun to just let go of that and have different branches for the different parts of the story, not in time, but like in this character's backstory, or like the journey of these characters as this thing, and the other stuff happens around um, those scenes that I'm putting here, but they're all kind of connected. So yeah, that is true. A lot of people like to portray ADHD as this annoying person who's hyperactive and rude to people, but that's so inaccurate. True. It's kind of similar to how people have really inaccurate ideas about the other thing that I recently found out I am, which is the autistic. And people, I think with both those things, people are picturing a very young white boy who, like, those things probably present in that population in a certain way, but a lot of other people have to spend a lot more effort learning to not do that, because it's like not to be hyperactive and stuff, because it's not it's not as it's not as acceptable for like people that are seen as women or the people of color. So yeah, yeah, you're right, Zara. That probably is why so many people go undiagnosed. NT people be like, you. Yeah, that's fine. The keyboard does stuff. I think I need to turn on this lamp. Very carefully reach behind my laptop. Okay. I think I saw this TikTok where someone was doing a skit, I guess, about a situation they'd encountered a lot, where they told someone they were autistic, and the other person said, "Oh, but you're nothing like my son, who's like in the elementary school." And the person was like, "I am not a small boy. Um, I am a grown. Um, I am a adult woman," which is very different. My younger sister is autistic, born in '83, and my mom had to fight for her diagnosis because the doctors kept saying it was rare that girls had autism. My mom kept saying, "What if it's not rare? But what if it's just different?" Yeah, good for your mom. It's. I think that's why a lot of people who were assigned female at birth, weren't diagnosed. Because people tend to just not look for it. It's really funny when, like, you start to see, when you realize this about yourself, and you start to see traits that you now know are autistic and or ADHD in yourself, and you see them in your parents, and you're like, yeah, it's that is right. It's really not as rare as we'd like to think. I'm happy to keep talking about this or anything else, but my mind went blank on what to say next. So if you have anything you want to talk about, throw it in the chat. Oh, fun. There's sort of fun news about yarn. I had to order more this morning from Premiere because I'm running out of 3 of the colors for my yarn is way back there, so all I have is the string, and like the ball is on the floor. That's fine. Yeah, it is nice to just sit and do stitches. So I'm glad to know that is like sometimes doing a live. You're like I must entertain, but it's nice to know that people also like just they're working on stuff. And oh yeah, so I'm almost out of 3 of the colors, so I got more, but I only have like 23 more rows, so that's fun, and there are 110 rows, so ooh. No, I don't think I don't count my yarn bands or like the labels so far, but I can definitely see where that'd be a good way to keep track of how much you're buying and using. Though I did start a couple of budget spreadsheets to keep track of things, because I'm trying to really like be more on top of that for this year, while my business gets going. Sometimes I want to save them and like make a note of them somehow, but I'm like I just don't want a bunch of paper yarn labels lying on my desk, so I end up tossing them. But it's cool that you're tracking them. I used to save bands, but then I filled up a whole drawer, so I had to stop. Yeah, I guess that's the point at which you're like, this might not be working. All right, I brought my coffee up. This is more of the pumpkin coffee, and this really cool mug from my house that was made by my housemate who's becoming a potter. And you're a potter, Harry. I'm a what? No, like like the clay kind. figured I'd feel less guilty about buying yarn if I counted per month and didn't buy more new than I'd used. Yeah, that sounds like a good way to keep track. My budget is also a way for me to help with money anxiety, because I think I'll be fine, but like I have to kind of be careful for the next few months. But it is nice being able to put a check down in the column that I have on my spreadsheet asking if it's a business purchase. And I'm like, yes, I can write that off when it's time to do taxes. It wasn't quite as organized last year, so I'm not sure that will be as fun, but hopefully next year I'll have an easier time. Still going to buy it anyway. Who am I kidding? Fair. Well, at least this way you kind of know what your money is doing, and if your money is going to buy yarn, then you know that's what it's going to do. Oh, cool. I'm more than halfway down this row. They're very long rows. We have... Wait, I'm not halfway. I forgot about this square. I was thinking this was the center, but it's 2 squares and 2 of these long pieces. But for a while I was thinking the border on the other side would never get done, and then I still had the rest of the borders to do, but now I'm more than halfway through the border on this side, so I think it helped that I'm going to focus on this for the next few lives and until I get it done. I was actually asked to do that by the god that it's for, so it's a devotional project. For the god that actually has the same name as this goat, Minos, though I also just call him the night goat. I was earlier when we were talking about challenges with like the ADHD and the autism, I was also thinking of the challenges I'm learning to navigate with stuttering, which if you've watched my channel for any length of time, you probably know that I stutter. So it is really cool that people still want to hear what I have to say and watch me. So thank you for that, because it's definitely been a journey learning to accept my own stutter. So the night goat, I love that. Yeah, I was happy with. I guess that's his subtitle. Title, Minos, subtitle, night goat. Yeah. Even though he's technically a newer goat, because I made him last year, he is Banros's older brother. I had fun posting this reel this week where I pretended that it was a reel about organizing my yarn, but really it was just an excuse to show that he was hiding in a one of the coffee canisters that I'm using for yarn after I drink all of the coffee. So I feel like that's going to be a standard. Like if I don't know what to do for a reel, it'll just be sudden goat. But I need to think of more places that he can hide and then be found. Oh yeah, I was thinking about Sunday, and of course that's one of our usual live chats, but also some of my friends in the pagan world are doing things for in bulk. So I was wondering if you all have any in bulk plans or other holidays like about Halloween that you're doing things for. I think I'll drop into my friends in bulk thing after our chat on that day. I actually started my blog, my pagan and like pagan journey and the poetry type blog 3 years ago, around just after in bulk. So it's nice to have that anniversary. Then I think I started my Etsy around that time 2 years ago. So now I'm going to sneeze. Okay, I think I'm good. Oh, cool. I just noticed you can see a little bit of the incense drifting across. I ran out of the sandalwood rose, so this is the fairy dreams. Oh, good. Okay. Huh. Oh, good. I was thinking, is it flipped or? But I think since I'm using the back camera, it is correctly. My goodness, I'm having to explain to a 35-year-old man how thermostats work, and he keeps pestering me and doubting me about it. That is frustrating. I hope that he will listen and leave you alone. I don't know much about pagan holidays other than the ones that were stolen. What is the one you're talking about? Yeah, this one is one of the 8 that are often celebrated during as part of the wheel of the year. Mainly in like Wicca, which is one of the big and oldest, relatively speaking, religions under the modern pagan movement. But there are 8 of those. This one is like when we're just starting to have spring, I think. So I think Imbolc means like in the belly, and it refers to like the lambs about to give the ewes about to give birth. At least that's what I've heard. And I think it's associated with the goddess or saint the breed, which is how I think. Well, there are a lot of ways that people pronounce Bridget, but that's how I've heard of my Irish polytheist friends say her name. But yeah, the people that are having the Imbolc thing that I'm going to aren't like they focus more on Irish polytheism, but there is some overlap because Wicca borrowed a lot from Irish and also Welsh traditions. So yeah, I'm happy to talk about this. So thanks for asking. Oh, and if anyone wants to go to the one on Sunday, it's free actually. It's run by the Koru priesthood. So their full name is Koru Kathabodwa, but I think just typing Koru Coru priesthood will get you there. The website. So they are good folks. Yep. Oh no. Tell him to ask the Google, but he thinks I'm his servant. That I am anti-Google. Well, he is sadly mistaken. then if they come back mad, I'm like, well, I guess you can't ask me anymore. Fair, yeah. I'm not saying do this, but I'm picturing just looking at him and going, me, 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 and until he backs off. Oh, something really cute happened with the goats. I visited my brother Brian last Sunday, and I left their house with a paper bag full of ginger because they had this whole box of ginger, and their wife was like, "Here, take it." So I had brought a tote bag for this entire project, and it was a little bit of a tight fit for that, plus my goats and all, and so I was like, well, there's room in the bag where the ginger is. It was like fresh ginger, so it was still in like root form, so it had the skin on it, and so I put the goats in the bag with the ginger. So like now it was so we had this laugh about, oh, it's goats and ginger and maybe other things that start with G. Seriously, last month I even threw him out and he pretends like everything's all right and hasn't even looked for an apartment yet. Oof. And he even told a bunch of BS to the landlords about having an agreement. Yeah, that. No, it's cool. That is a lot, and I'm glad that we can be here for you. I hope that situation works out, because that can be stressful. Sounds like he's not the ideal housemate. Yeah, it's definitely good to have places you can talk about things. I was thinking last night, wow, one of the reasons I'm kind of stressed sometimes is because I would normally vent to my mom, at least back when I was closer to her, but like I've had to. So I've moved, and also I've had to emotionally distance myself because of the stuff that she was either doing or enabling from my dad and other people in our lives. And so I'm like, yeah, I don't like I do have a therapist and some good friends, but I feel like, yeah, maybe I need more people to be able to just vent to. But of course you don't want to like always trauma dump on people, so it can be hard to balance. But even though it's not the same as having a physical like human here to talk to, it has been really helpful to talk to my gods and some ancestors and like guides that I've had. So Thorn, I had my volume, first of all, hi, the Draka. I had my volume down too far, so I heard bag of gender, and here, have some gender. So I'm picturing cologne, a packer, lipstick, strapping sandals, just all sorts of gender. Take what you like. I love that, and I will definitely tell my brother about that. I think that they would that love that too. As you can tell from me using they, them, for them. Well, they use they and he, like they're very they are very gender too. But yeah, what I actually was given was a bag of ginger, but it also begins with G, gender. So like maybe ginger, goats, and gender. Thank you, Winter. It is good to know that you're that y'all are here for me. Yeah, I want to create a space where like all of the goats can like be here for each other, kind of like we are over in the ghoul squad too. So my bag of ginger's empty. What do? Hi, Bean. Can't stay long, but thought I'd drop in to say hi. Hi, Ruby. I was saying earlier that I have like 23 more rows on your Graphcan, and I ordered 3 more colors this morning because I ran out. But I'm almost done. Then we can talk to. Then we can consult about the border, because not that it has to have a big border, but like my Graphcans I've noticed tend to roll inwards, so probably just at least a small border would be good. But yeah, gendered ginger goat sounds like an amazing strain of sativa. I don't know what that is, but I'm sure that you're right. It's definitely a good name, and I would say it sounds like a good name for a rock band too. The Gendered Ginger Goats, with their hit single meh. Followed by this. Oh, I was gonna say that. Talking about like it sounds like goats would sing about tasty leaves, and hey, that's a leaf too. I will tell you a secret. So that's illegal where I live, and that is one of the main reasons why I do incense in here. Like, it's fine. I don't mind, but like sometimes that scent is in the air, so I'm like, incense. But even though it's like, it still feels weird to say it online on camera, even though it's fine here. But yeah. Almost done with this row. Just have this. Of course, this is the back, because with mosaic crochet, you're always facing the front, which is kind of fun. Like, you always get to see the fun side. But oh, okay. Sativa is more of a head mind high, and indica is more of a body high. Cool. I don't know much about it, but it's cool to learn. I don't smoke though. I have a very strong aversion to the smell, and would get really bad effects. Yeah, that's fair too. Yeah, I know people that can't do mind 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 altering stuff including caffeine. But even if I didn't know those people, then that's definitely a valid thing to have. Okay, I think this stitch split, but I'm just gonna do my best and move on. I have some great chili dusted peach gummy rings. Ooh, yeah, that is kind of close to the ginger goats. Kind of, anyway. Speaking of flavors, I finally got a muffin pan. So I can be the muffin man. But yeah, and I had this big box of dates that I got of like a week or so ago. So like, yeah, so I was like, well, maybe I'll, like, what should I do with all these dates? I guess I'll try putting them in the muffins. So I made my first batch of the muffins. I feel like there are a few things I would change, but the dates and honey and date syrup came out good for like I didn't have quite enough all-purpose flour, so I used some whole wheat flour, and like whole wheat is like a very strong flavor, so it tastes like, oh yep, that's a loaf of whole wheat bread, just happens to be in a muffin form. Also, it has that, like, just a few parts of it have that slightly bitter taste. I'm not sure if it's from being burned or like having a bit too much baking soda, so I'll have to keep practicing. But since I've missed making muffins, and for some reason we don't have or we didn't have a muffin pan. We have lots of other bakeware, but not that. So along with my yarn dyeing supplies, I ordered a muffin pan, so I have it. Well, I've noticed it's about time for me to goat. So as always, I am so happy that all of you came and hung out. Ooh, tip with whole wheat flour: store it in the freezer to keep it fresher longer. It can go rancid if left at room temp for too long. That is good to know. I don't know how long I've had mine, but like, should probably go put it in the freezer downstairs. So yeah, thanks. I feel like I'm learning all of these things about how to live in the world and be kind of on like the skills that you would think you would learn as a kid, but I just didn't. So like, I'm glad to learn them now. Yes, so going to goat now, but thank you so much. Yes, that's a good quote to end on, actually, Draka. Good night and sweet goats.